is a program in Chicago that is helping teenagers in the city, especially CPS students, get the basics, learn their passion, and create their love of all things culinary. We have Executive Director of Kendall College Trust, and yes, Chef Culinary Camp, Kathy Orio. Thank you so much for joining me, and it's so good to see you.
It's so good to see you too. Thanks for having me, Rudy.
So let's first of all talk a little bit about the Kendall College Trust and what that program does.
Yes. So we've been around, gosh, now for 13 years. It's amazing. And I've been there for over 7 now. So we are an organization that helps kids that want to pursue a career in hospitality or culinary. And we help them with scholarships for college. We do a culinary camp program for high school students, so we can get them on that track early. And we're currently working on creating a mentorship program. We can get them actually out into the workforce, which, as you know, the workforce needs desperately right now.
Oh, exactly. And one thing that I need desperately is some wonderful treats, some cookies, some pies. And you have a program for CPS students, high school students. Tell us a little bit about the holiday version of the boot camp.
Oh, it's so great. So our original camp, just, like we had a summer camp that was a week long overnight. We loved it. And it was kind of, we did a few of them. We did an intro to baking and pastry, intro to culinary, advanced culinary, and then intro to baking and pastry. So we had 3 sessions going on during the summer, and then COVID came. And obviously, nobody's in the kitchens together. Nobody's staying overnight in dorms together. And so we had to completely rethink our program. So last summer, we did a virtual program, and we weren't sure kind of how it was going to work. We're like, are kids going to be responsive in their own kitchens cooking? Or are they going to be, like getting that siren call of the Xbox instead of, their pâté sucré? So we were like, let's see how it goes. And it was amazing. Our students were more engaged being in their own kitchens, and they were so great that we decided to roll this out now year round, doing these boot camps. So our first boot camp is coming up. It's the Holiday Baking Boot Camp, and it follows the same principles as all of our camps. We say there's 3 pillars. There's culinary, there's community, and there's culture. So we always try to include a little of each. Obviously, the culinary, you understand that, they're learning to cook or they're learning to bake. With community, when they're in an overnight camp, it's because they get to meet like-minded peers, stay overnight, and kind of build this community of, I guess, associates that they can network with, as they move further along in their careers. So for community this time, aside from the fact that they interact a lot online, they are still all in their own kitchens. So we thought we'd bring community for the holidays to their actual immediate community. So they can make cookies, bring them to their neighbors. They get to bring like a pie to a family, gathering. We have them plate everything after class. So again, it's a way for them to maybe do something with a sibling or their parent, and kind of pay that forward. And then culture, we always try to integrate some type of culture. So whether that's, in the summer camp, each day had a theme, and there was, kind of a, Latin theme, Latinx theme. We had an Italian theme. So they learn a little bit. We did a Pan-Asian theme. So they learned a little bit about different cuisine styles, so that they are kind of just opening their minds and opening their palates and kind of learning to experiment. But in the interim, also learning about other cultures and how that kind of plays into cooking.
So there is currently a wait list, but spots always open up. So kids can still go ahead and register. CPS students, high school students in the Chicagoland area, tell us a little bit about who can, and then how do people get the ingredients that they need?
Yes. Okay. So these spots in the camp are for kids that don't have necessarily the opportunities, because they just don't have the financial resources to go to a camp. Like, so many kids, their parents can send them to a cooking class or a baking class. And so we really focus on giving students that don't have those resources the opportunity to partake in our camps. So the financial need is the key component for who is eligible for our camp. So what I always say is, if you think you might be eligible, reach out to us. We talk to everybody. We'll talk you through it. We'll let you know. And so I always say, like, don't think you might not be eligible, because you might be. So, and a lot of this kids that we work with, just as a general idea, CPS, West Side, South Side of Chicago, that tends to be most of our demographic, but we also work with some kids from the South suburbs. So like I said, it's really about kids that might not have this opportunity, but for us sponsoring them.
Now, I have known you for a long time, and you've been part of this program for a very long, a long time as well too. I know the passion you have for cooking and for being in the kitchen. Well, who was it for you, or what experience was it for you as a kid that really got you into this field that you share this passion for, our next generation?
So, so there's two people. My first and foremost is my Nana Kay. So her name's Catherine. I'm named after her. It's my father's mother. And we were just, thick as thieves, every time I would pack a bag and a little suitcase, and she lived just like a couple blocks away, and be like, I'm going to Nana's for the weekend. And we would cook together all weekend. And even during college, I would come home and I would just go stay with her. I'd swing by my parents, say hi, and then I'd just go straight to her house and we'd start cooking. And she literally, taught me everything. And it's funny because she was definitely the Italian grandma, like, nope, that's not how you do it. Nope. Like, I'd say, how much do you put in of this? And she was like, you don't use measurements. You taste it, you touch it, you feel it. This is how you learn to cook, Catherine. It's not from just a recipe or an exact amount. And so she really, I feel like what I gained so much from her is not just the passion for the cooking and the love for it, but also just kind of that intuitive style. I'm more of an intuitive cooker now. Yeah, chef, I guess, if you want to say now. So it's like, even though I went to culinary school, I have formal training, so I feel like the best lessons I had were those ones really early on, where, we'd be making, we used to make homemade raviolis as one of the 1,000 dishes at Christmas time. And so I would go over there to help her start making that in advance. And, she would have me touch the dough just so I knew what things should feel like, so that I wouldn't overwork any of the dough. And so she just, I can't, like I said, she is still, she's like my patron saint of cooking. So, and then my mother is a great cook, totally different style. She had 2 kids, had to have dinner on the table. So she cooked everything for us. There were like no SpaghettiOs in my house. That was a huge no-no. I was the, little Italian kid with the homemade soup, homemade pasta in the thermos. And everyone's like, oh my God, what is she eating? So my mom is just different. She was more like very creative, because she would just see kind of what does she have on hand that day and just go to town and make like a great meal. And so I feel like I became this kind of hybrid of them, where I definitely have this traditional kind of approach to cooking, like my grandmother taught me, but then definitely, my husband always says, he's like, oh my God, there's nothing to eat in the house. And I open the cabinet. I'm like, are you kidding me? And I start pulling things out. And ta-da! Like this, exactly. Ta-da! And so I think that, that definitely came from my mom, because my grandma was more like, this is the way it's supposed to be done. And my mom's like, yeah, break the rules. Who cares? Let's see how it goes.
We got spaghetti sauce. We got cereal. I got a bag of this here. We'll make something.
Exactly.
So obviously, for many years you hosted Check Please, and we look forward to watching you on a weekly basis as far as the new and hottest restaurants to go and check out. Are you still going to spots and checking new spaces out even during this crazy time?
I am. I was really careful during COVID, but I did do a lot of kind of all the fun takeout, dinners and meals that the various restaurants did. And we, my husband and I celebrated our anniversary. We did like the big, Alinea, takeout meal. And so that was really fun. And it was fun to, just kind of be able to cook and do some of those things in your home. But now I'm slowly venturing out, and I just feel like, oh my gosh, I have so many restaurants to get to. But some of the ones I really like, I just recently was at Apollonia which is the same people who do Sky, which Sky happens to be, it's in Pilsen. It's one of my all-time favorite restaurants in Chicago. I recommend it all the time to people. And Apollonia is their new restaurants in the South Loop, and it's some kind of modern Mediterranean fare, which I am like Italian, Mediterranean. It's just like the flavors I go to all the time. So I love that. I'm still a huge fan of Monteverde. You know, it's my neighborhood place, but it's, you know, I just think Sarah is so talented, and just the whole team there is amazing. And it's just always fun, you know. And now I just feel like I have this list, you know, Alavita's opened and Adelina's opened and Joya's opened. And I feel like there is this proliferation of Italian restaurants that that I need to go to. So yeah, so yes, I still have my never-ending list, and still, you know, going out trying to now schedule quite a bit all of the restaurants I need to get to.
This is such a wonderful program. Even if people can't get into this one because of the waiting list, they can definitely get on the mailing list and be a part of future ones. Let people know the information of the website of where we can find out more info.
yeschefcamp.org, and you'll see the application. It's pretty straightforward. Fill it out. Just sign up for our mailing list. I know that there's a wait list right now, but sign up. We'll put you on the wait list, and you'll also be on the mailing list, so you'll know when our next one opens. We're planning to do a spring baking boot camp. We're planning to do a barbecue. We're planning to do an all chocolate boot camp. So there are a lot of fun things coming up. So get on the mailing list, and that way you'll be the first to know, and you won't be on the wait list. You'll be in the camp next time.
Oh my goodness. It was so great to catch up with you. This is so wonderful. Thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you so much for having me, Rudy.